Helldivers 2 just got a ton of new data mine information, which pertains to corporations, weapons, biomes, stratagems, meteors, and even more. And additionally, even new sample types. We also have some new information around Xbox, and some weird things happening with the PlayStation 5 version, as well as more discussion from the CEO, and a few PSAs about the game in general. We got a ton to talk about. What's up, world? Tribute back in the research on all things Helldivers 2. Okay, so first up, let's just jump into the new data mine information, as well as all the new things that are coming out with that. There is a ton of stuff to go over, especially with all the stratagems, samples, meteors, and even more with that. Again, we have a few new sample types here like bio, tech, artifact, spice, which will probably pertain to future upgrades and future content releases, which I think is fairly obvious there, so we'll have to wait and see when those new samples actually do come out. There's a ton of environmental effects, especially some new ones, including earthquakes, fire tornadoes, thick fog, even an ion storm and a sandstorm, as well as a swamp. A few of these are already in the game itself, and we've already experienced them as well, but it does go to show how in-depth this game is actually going to become, and is already, noting that they're already making new environmental hazards, which I'm sure will come with the new planet types and the new biomes. But we could also see these environmental types on the current planets and current structures. We also have those new helmet passives, things like Battle Hardened, Combat Medic, Combat Engineer. We also might be seeing a potential melee weapon. And as I went on before, we do have those customization slots for the weapons, which range from triggers, ammo types, optics, underbarrels, and even the paint schemes. So it seems like eventually we will get a full list of customization there and a full range of customizations to the actual weapons. Because currently, obviously, we do not have any modifications to the current weapons, which just will add a whole nother dynamic to this as well. Next up, we do have some new status effects, which might be paired up with the actual biomes and weather effects. So here we have things like radiation, stuns that could happen possibly, and hallucinations. It seems like the stun is specific to the illuminates, as it is highlighted here. Seems like that might be a real pain. We'll have to see how long the stun effects are and if they allow you to at least counter them. I do know in certain games like Diablo 4 we had a bit of issues with the stuns lasting so long and them being able to be kind of put back to back with no DR. So I do hope there's some sort of diminishing returns there with the actual stun effects. Additionally, with the customization to weapons, we do have a noise template, which means possibly a suppressor is incoming. A weird one here is that we have civilians with weapons, and even Super Earth soldiers. So maybe we'll even need to defend Super Earth, or there's going to be even things with that there. There's honestly a ton that they can do with this, and you can already see in the back end that they are. Of course, I've already went over these, but we do have the new enemy types, but these do pertain to bugs and even the illuminates. We also have those meteors coming, which seems like there's a world meteor type or even a world meteor projectile, which I'm guessing is going to pertain to the environmental or the environmental hazards, maybe akin to sort of what happens in Sea of Thieves with the volcanoes, where we do have those flaming rocks crashing down, so maybe that's akin to that, and we'll see that with Helldivers as well. Obviously, I also already went over the new stratagems, at least in my last video, but we also do have a new stratagem rank. So we're probably going to see a potential upgrade to stratagems in general and not just through the ship module. We see here that there's Arc Thrower MK2 and 3-4, and then same with Orbital Gas MK2, 3. So it definitely looks like we're going to see a potential rank increase across the board with those. It also looks like we're going to be getting some Galactic War events. And the ships even are getting a customization tab, or at least it's seemingly so there is some customization that you can do the interior and even exterior. Maybe we'll see a little bit more with the actual ships. Although with the exterior stuff, this is mostly to do with just the load screen, I would assume. The interior stuff could be really cool and could definitely create a different dynamic there. And we have a massive section for weapon variations and ammunitions. So it looks like you're going to be able to change out ammo types, and there's a lot of them here. Now to preface, some of this data mine stuff might eventually be scrapped. However, there are so many different things here like high velocity, hollow point, thermite, plasma rounds. It just seems like a lot to have all this done already, or at least in the data mine and files. It'll be really cool to see if they do go crazily in depth with this and you can switch out different rounds or ammo types. Maybe even potentially do this during a mission or even on the spot, or at least with a resupply you're able to choose different ammo types. It would be really cool to see that there. Now there's a bunch of stuff here with different iron sights and different weapon attachments and muzzles. Again, we're definitely going to see weapon customizations, or at least seemingly so, as this is way too in depth for us to not see it in the future. If you want to check out all of this and all this stuff listed down here below, I'll leave a link down below in the description so you can see all the data mine stuff there. Now we do have the Arrowhead CEO actually commenting on Xbox and the PlayStation business tactics. Essentially all we have to go off of if Helldivers 2 will actually come to Xbox. Now we had a comment chain here on Twitter or X, which started from Unleashed, who said, "Sorry Xbox, but everyone knows it's the truth." And here he's highlighting Helldivers over Halo, which I would say, yeah, currently Halo is in a very, very terrible state, but I don't think that has anything to do with its originality or where it came from. Unfortunately, Xbox just can't get a W there, especially with Halo and 343. Now the CEO did say, why compare, just let gamers love and enjoy either or neither. We need more compassion and union in the world and less rivalry. However, I will say Halo has just kind of fallen so far down that at this point there really isn't too much there with that. But we did a reply here that goes into more of what is going on with Xbox, at least as far as the competition goes. And someone said here, a bit of friendly rivalry can be a great thing, but it should stay friendly. Or Piles did go on here to say that indeed, also in business, neither monopoly or cut-through competition makes the world a better place. Which is a bit odd that we do see that it's only on PlayStation, however it is being published by PlayStation. In fact, it's kind of a surprise that the PC audience actually did get this on day one. However, it is to note that the original Helldivers did launch on PlayStation and PC at the same time. However, typically with these PlayStation releases, PC doesn't receive them for a few years. Again, it is a bit odd for the CEO to have this sort of mindset but then not bring it to Xbox, but this could be on PlayStation, or more than likely is. We'll have to wait and see on some more further Xbox news, or if there is an Xbox port. Which, to even further elaborate here, someone was very upset about the Xbox stuff, which said it was made by a Sony-owned studio. And Piles did go on to say that we are not owned, we are independently owned. He corrected here saying, I mean, we are owned, but only by the founders, including me, of the studio. So again, whether or not there is a licensing agreement with Sony and to only publish through PC or PlayStation, and just to keep it off Xbox, we'll have to wait and see on that there. Again, Xbox could really use some W's as of late, so hopefully they too get this game sometime soon. Speaking of PC and PlayStation, there is some weird things going on with the PC players or PlayStation players in comparison. Apparently, if a PlayStation 5 player hosts a lobby, you can actually kill the Bite Titans after 2 or 3 shots with a railgun. However, if the PC player hosts the lobby, it takes up to 12 shots. So maybe there's some issues there with server-side stuff, or even some bug coding with the actual PlayStation release, or even the PC release. Someone on here went to speculate that it might even be giving the team a bonus damage if a PlayStation 5 player actually hosts the lobby. There's also further people that tested this. I've only hosted my own lobbies or joined PC lobbies, so it is to say that I haven't really had much testing with this. However, apparently something similar happened to Warframe. It might be due to the host actually having lower FPS on PlayStation, as where PC players would have a higher frame rate. Hopefully the devs do look into this, because this is a pretty major concern for PC players, as well as even potentially PS5 players if they do end up changing to what the PC is. They might have a hard time adjusting to the new difficulty, especially with those Bite Titans. Now, we did have those personal orders down for a few days. However, now they are seemingly back, so we do have personal orders back, so you should be good to go on receiving those medals. Some other last minute mentionables here is that Steam did hit a new concurrent record, hitting 34 million concurrent users. Again, the biggest contributors here were Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, PUBG, Apex Legends, and even Helldivers, of course. Now, as far as people being in-game, this was 11.1 million. So yes, Steam did have concurrent of 34 million, however, it didn't reach that in-game per se. It was just active users that had the app open, but the total count for people in-game was 11.1 million. Now, we also do have some 2 last-minute PSAs here, where we did have a poster saying the Orbital Stratagem Gunners are traitors. And this is because the way that they do the drop pod, as well as how they do the Eagles, where they seem to be angling things differently and the measuring point is a little bit different. There's a bunch of cool measurements here, and the guy breaks down basically where the ship actually is in the middle. And there's one more PSA here. If you didn't know, the stratagem interface is actually kind of misleading. Eagles actually do have unlimited amounts of times to be used per mission. However, they come in batches with a short cooldown, which then goes for a long cooldown once you have run out of those batches. Now, the difference there is that the orbital laser can only be used a few times and doesn't replenish. However, all your Eagles will replenish, including the 500 kg. Just a nice notable mention there. Overall, though, that should about cover for today's video. If you like, subscribe, and until next one, deuces.